Hey, it looks like we are live, which is awesome. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully good. Ready to get started here. Get my obligatory cough out of the way. Let's see. Here we go. Just one we want. All right. SEO this week. This is episode 150. Talking NLP, feature snippets, favicons, all the latest news and greatest of this week. And a little last week. There's a lot of stuff, like little things happened that made a big splash, which was kind of interesting this week. Not a whole lot of, like superb, excellent content out there, but a lot of people reacting and things. So we'll get into that a little bit. And then we have a site audit to round out the show. With that, let's get the making money stuff out of the way. It's got to pay his bills, yo. First, if you guys don't know, I kind of filling in the shoes now for Kyle Roof. He left SIA, SEO Intelligence Agency, and he's got the thing with Ted and Kyle now. But I came in and I filled in. I'm filling in now in his role as the head of SEO for SIA, working with Dory and friend and her teams over there to create what in our vision is going to be a great community. We're taking it beyond just test results. We're going into adding courses that'll be part of the membership, and even getting a little bit deeper into, having these test results is awesome, but what do we do with them? The so what, as it were, what it is, what's it about, what's in it for me, and that's something that we would like you to be a part of. You can come join us. Check us out at seointelligenceagency.com. Click on the join SIA and you get to this little thing here, and it'll walk you through some of the stuff that we've done, all the past tests and stuff, and just know that we're continuing and pumping out more and more testing, and making this to be a much better community in the long run. So invite you to join. Next is our wonderful people over at Saltera, Terry Samuels and Elizabeth Samuels, and that whole crew over there are putting on SEO spring training. It's the 3rd through the 6th of April in Phoenix, Arizona. It says Tempe, but it's all the same. It's all one thing, but it isn't. It's technically it's in Tempe, but if you want to fly there, you're going to Phoenix. So this conference, I spoke at the inaugural one last year. It was a great conference. There's no recordings, so it's no pitch. So basically, it's just a lot of people having some great conversations and stuff. I did a presentation there. I didn't even have to do. I wasn't even up on stage really very long. Just and a lot of other people who some of you may know and some of you might not are talking at this year's conference. So just want to point out some people that I'm looking forward to meeting and or seeing again is Marty Marion for sure. He has he's doing a whole mastermind day on positioning. Craig Campbell, the Black Hat, and you've probably seen him in a lot of the SEM Rush stuff, the webinars and stuff that SEM Rush was doing, and then he's getting out more and more these days and speaking. So get an opportunity to meet him. Interesting person. I met him actually at the NFG Rockstars. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk a whole lot, but it seems like a really nice guy, crazy knowledgeable. And if you want to get him talking about some of his black hat exploits of the past, he's reformed now. But if you want to get him on the black hat exploits of the past, then certainly an awesome conversation there. Joshua Fletcher, if you know him, he's part of the crew over at OMG Machines. OMG. Great guy, stupid, smart, local marketer, makes all kinds of cash and money, and he's a big, tall dude. So That's a good conversation to have. Robert Portillo talking about CRO stuff. Let's see who else we got going on. Matt Versteg, he'll be there talking about GMB stuff. I'm sure Mike Steffens will cover that too. And Stuart here. Stuart is probably the one that I'm looking forward the most to. Finally getting to meet. He created marketing cheat guides. If you don't know what that is, back I want to say almost 2 years ago, probably longer than that, he created these PDFs, and it was essentially these like mini SOPs, and he called them marketing cheat guides. And I was using those for my team. Like if I wanted like a GMB thing or doing it was like really simple tasks, honestly. And you just hand those over to the VAs and do those. So Stewart created all that, and now he's more known for coming in and helping people and creating processes and stuff, and getting your business running on the right track. Which is, a lot of people have issues with that. Even I have issues with the whole concept of developing the SOP. I kind of stuck in my old dog ways, and I just want to, do it this way. But I'm not really good at explaining stuff sometimes, and that's where SOPs come in. And that is something that Stewart is definitely an expert on. And then one other one is Elias. Elias is also going to be doing part of a mastermind day. He'll be sharing that day with Marty, and he'll be talking about obviously his software and link building automation. So looking forward to that. And Ted is going to be doing a presentation. Moon and Marie and Kyle will have a mastermind day on page SEO. So this is going to be all in all, it's going to be a great conference. I invite you all to come. It'll be the Tempe Mission Palm. Just looking at the pictures, it looks awesome. If you're part of SIA, we're going to have the Thursday is going to be kind of an SIA only get together. Friday's a mastermind, Saturday, Sunday is the conference, and Monday is another mastermind day. So I invite you all to join. Come sign up right now on SEOspringtraining.com. All right. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Thanks for showing up. Let's get into the news. Well, news-ish. I wanted to cover this one really quick. I found this actually late. It was a viewer submitter, Kyle Byers, submitted this, and you guys can do that too. You go to digitalear.com, click on SEO this week, and there's a submit your article form. And Kyle used that, and so but this is it's a great long form content on how to create a content marketing funnel, starting from the keyword research right down to measuring and optimizing, which a lot of people miss. So I think this is, if you've not or have not made a funnel or are working on developing your own, I would actually just go through this one. Just to kind of get your head back into the game of building the funnel, and maybe some copy, and thinking about the buyer stages and all that stuff, and how to go through this whole little process and analyze things and use some tools and stuff. It's really well illustrated. Paragraphs are broken up really nicely, so it's not like you're gonna get scared to want to read it, because it's an easy read. I actually went through and read it myself. He's using Moz. I don't like Moz, you guys know that, but they're getting a little bit better with the increase to their metrics and stuff. But he uses Moz in here. You can pretty much use whatever metric you choose to use, whatever's your favorite. And then go through and do some cool guy stuff here to get a lot of this fixed up, and build out your funnel in a much more effective way. This again, you can use this as a content marketing funnel, is the way that his process is done, but you can use these same kind of foundations and stuff if you're creating a small sales funnel or whatever. Another good funnel resource is at product mark. What is it? Project Funnel. What's the name of the stupid thing? You sell it every year. Product release funnel. I can't remember the name of it at this moment right now. But it's basically the concept of that one is you release a video, then release a video, then release a video, giving those three things away, and then your fourth video is your sales video. Product launch formula. Jesus, there you go. That's the name of it. And you can pretty much look at this and kind of fill in the blanks and figure out product launch formula too, if you know some people that are using that model to launch their stuff. Let's see. Okay, so searchengineland.com. It's a Google to experiment with more desktop local changes of Favicon and the black label ad rollouts. If you don't know this fiasco, Google started putting Favicons in mobile. No one really said anything. People noticed it. They're like, "Oh, okay, what's going on?" And when they did it, it was pointed out to me. I'm like, they're just trying to hide the ads, the little ad Favicon that they're required to put in there for FCC stuff, right? And then they carried it over into the normal search results. And some people were like, "Oh, that's exciting. It's kind of a branding thing." And then others called it out for really what it was. And this time, even the mainstream people started saying, "Yo, what's up?" Basically, what they were doing is they were blending that ad, and in the search results. Let me see if it's over here. Where is that? No, it's not here. Let me check this one. Nope, not here. But it was blending that little, the ad symbol into the search results by essentially what they're hoping for is banner blindness. Is essentially what they're looking at. They want you to get so used to seeing these favicons that the ad thing is just kind of it's there, like you don't even notice it anymore. And if you're a Google advertiser, that's kind of a good thing because your CTR goes up. And if you're Google, it's a good thing because you get to collect some more money, right? But if you're a user, then you have an issue, or you're an SEO. Now your CTR drops if you're an SEO for the number one ranking, that'll cover the number one ranking. And if you're a user, you're gonna get typically sent to ads first, which could create issues. And eventually, what will happen is what has always happened with ads and ad placements is people start getting used to the 3 ads there or the 4 ads or whatever, and then they'll scroll down and miss it and get past it. And now in local, they're seeing all the ads, the maps, the Yelps, Home Advisors, Angie's List, all that crap, and people are starting to click over to page 2, where all the sites that are actually local are ranking, and the CTR is going over there. So that's eventually what would have happened. But right now, Google is under the microscope from the FCC, and EU just nailed them too. So this move was like really stupid. It was inviting people to file FCC complaints against them. I think it's FTC is, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Getting them to invite those complaints against them, because then now they're mixing that up so much that you can't tell whatsoever what is an ad and what isn't. That's the intent. They're going to say, "Oh, we made it bold and it's an ad and it says ad, so it's got to be ad." But that's hey, we're smarter than you. You guys are dumb, kind of a response, really. And when they're trying to instigate this banner blindness stuff. So long story short is they reversed that. They, as I understand it, they're taking the favicons out. So they took the favicons back out and they put the ad thing back to that normal green button thing, which was probably good for them, because if the mainstream media was starting to pick up on what they were doing, then there's no doubt the FTC would have too. And they would have came calling pretty quickly once that gets more momentum in the mainstream. The next one is the featured snippets updates. If you don't know, if you have a featured snippet, then you can no longer have for lack of a better term, the organic ranking. So featured snippet is now the number 1 position. Let me see. I had one here at one time. Page speed optimization. Let's see if it's still there. No, snippet's gone now. But there used to be a snippet here. So let's pretend this is a featured snippet. If I had that featured snippet there, I can no longer have this. I can no longer have the organic ranking. So Google is now calling that featured snippet the number one position. So featured snippet is number one, and the first organic listing as we know it would be position number two. There are some studies, in particular Ahrefs did one, that shows that the featured snippet actually got less traffic than the number one ranking, which goes along what a lot of people saw when Google actually rolled this out is a lot of their traffic dropped. Like, oh, that we have all these featured snippets, but my traffic's dropped. And as such, there were some people that were looking for ways to like, how do I get out of the feature snippet? I don't want it anymore. And there's a couple things that you could do, but there is a code that I want to warn you about putting in there. And that's these meta tags right here. No snippet, no feature number, no max preview, no image. If you use one of these, it'll also erase your meta description. I didn't know that, but people learned the hard way. Like they implemented no snippet, and then so Google started using their meta description. It also stops them from caching your website. There may or may not be benefits to that. I am not too sure on the caching the website thing, but maybe does it stop crawling you if you have no snippet? You're saying no, I don't want you to use my stuff, and Google the bot is programmed algorithm how to stop crawling you. That could be a problem. On the other side, if they're not caching it, then they don't know about maybe they're crawling it more now because they're not caching it and they want to see the changes. That's another thing to wonder about. So it's pretty interesting. Another way is just probably to re-optimize your page so that that snippet drops out of there if you don't want it. I would guess that if you're going after featured snippets anyway, it's probably going to be some informational stuff, maybe some questions, or maybe a definition, or maybe even a brand kind of thing. So if they're there, then the users are probably going to start clicking on them maybe a little bit more. But if you have a whole bunch of featured snippets and your rank tracker is showing a whole bunch of featured snippets, but your traffic dropped off significantly and there's nothing else there, it may be a good idea to test getting rid of that snippet. And again, you can use these meta tags. But this one that I've seen for sure is the one that will take out your meta description. Maybe match snippet number. I don't even know if you really want to do these ones here. But no snippet altogether. It was the one that people are saying was taking out the meta description. I got to test it myself. I don't care. I want the snippets when I can get them. I don't go after a lot of them anyway, but the ones that I do is just, it's kind of a branding play. I, digitally answered my question kind of thing. So in my case, I don't care, but it's really something if you had a traffic drop and you have a whole bunch of feature snippets and your rank tracker says you get a bunch of number ones, then that might be something to look at. This is from Surfer SEO. They actually did a good one. So if you're on the bandwagon, there's two schools of thought for BERT. Let's put out how NLP just kind of took over the Wild West. A year ago, they implemented BERT partially, and then just recently in our time, they implemented BERT across the entire web. The way Google and the Google reps explain it is BERT is looking at, and even the examples that they showed is looking at how the intent of the search. So if you search for horticulture jobs, for example, BERT is designed to know what you're looking for, and then it'll give you the results. That's the way that it was purported by Google. You can kind of see that they messed that up a little bit. Let me see if I can get some more. Yeah, see, like it'll change the results here, and it changed the search results because it was looking for different things once it was implemented. Now, there is a theory out there that BERT is also reading your content, and then deciding if it's related. That theory, I'm not entirely 100% on board with. I am, however, on board with the idea that you should be looking at entities and stuff, in particular Google's NLP API or IBM Watson. We're trying to rank in Google, so I kind of lean towards the Google NLP API. And you can get some of that data for free testing your content using TextRaiser if you want to. But to get back onto that, so people like Kyle Roof, he implemented NLP into Page Optimizer Pro. You can pull in some of the top entities for the content of your competitors that you select. Ted Kabaitis added TextRaiser in NLP API into Quora, and that pulls the top 100, runs that through that API on specific sections of the web page. Again, gives you the top ones that are selected. And Surfer SEO, they also joined that crew and implemented the process here. It's not entirely clear if they're using Watson or Google. My guess is that they're probably using Watson. Most people that I know are implementing Watson because the super nerds like Watson's output better. But again, you're trying to rank in Google, so you should maybe leverage what Google's giving you. I'm not sure. There have been some affiliates who say that they've used Surfer SEO's content editor, implemented this API, and saw rankings increases. They are affiliates, so take that for what it's worth. But the concept and the idea here that they're doing is actually pretty good. And salience and category are two things that not many people cover. And this post actually does it, and then how to go through and mess with the API. Again, it's clear that the intent of BERT is to find a better result query for you when you type something in, right? That's what it's wants. John Mueller's saying it. Danny Sullivan's saying it. They're pretty open that this is what BERT is doing. So when you're applying entity tough stuff to your content, in my opinion, you're not doing a better job in regards to BERT. And it doesn't mean that BERT's run through your stuff and figured it out. It's BERT is getting better at saying this is what it is, and then the algorithm behind it is getting better at classifying your stuff to meet that target idea a lot better. So back to the horticulture job search. If I was doing a search for this and I optimize it and made sure I had all the entities that the math would be looking for, like these are the top 10 entities. Let's just use that number for example, throw an arbitrary one out there. The top 10 entities are inside of there. And then, okay, so now I know that this content is really related to it. And BERT is saying, this is the stuff I need. Hey, math micro minions, this is the stuff I need. The math micro minions have done through and processed all your content, and they found all these things that met these goals. And it's matched those two math results matched. And that is why I think the entity stuff is working so much better. I can't imagine, how much money it costs. So much money to run this stuff through those APIs, right? So, if they're they're passing as maybe if it comes more and more, people will start using it a little bit more and stuff. It'll get a little bit better cost wise. But I can't, and then maybe Google will take along and they'll say, hey, let's run all this stuff through NLP API kind of technology and see what's what. But I don't see that happening in the distant future, like for a while. Just probably not a lot of money in it for them to implement it to that scale. But there's nothing wrong with going through and using this NLP technology to make your content more relevant and to answer some of the signals that Google may or may not be using. So I think this is a pretty good tool. Again, Quora has one in it too. I actually like the Quora one a lot bit better because I can you only use my own nugget and figure out some of the stuff, and then there's some more data that Ted is pulling in from the TextRaiser API you can use to build schema, etc. So that's to me, it's a little, that's what stands Quora apart from the Surfer one. But if you're looking for something easy and quick, then the Surfer SEO one is a good way to get started with your basic on-page SEO stuff, which is at the end of the day is what I use Page Optimizer Pro and Surfer for, is the basic on-page stuff. Get it ready, get it planted, and then fire off a Quora, and ta-da! That's the end game there. So, hopefully, do you guys have any questions about this NLP stuff, implementation ideas, that kind of stuff? Would really look forward to hearing anything you have to say.
I have a question for you.
Oh, there's Ted. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Sorry I'm late. I got lost in coding land and looked up at the clock and was like, oh no.
Yeah, I was almost late for my own show. I was yelling at my developer. So
how if you don't mind sharing, if you do mind sharing, just say I mind sharing and I'm not going to tell you. But if you don't mind sharing, how are you using entity links?
So in my case, pre-Quora implementation, I was using TextRaiser. We were running through the top 10 and seeing what the most entities were used. What is that pattern, the most entities we were using, and then we were making sure that's inserted into our content. There's another way to use it. No, I'm not gonna tell that one because it's from my mastermind. But there's another way to do it where you do this essentially the same thing, and then you can create your own content using the entity counts, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, where I essentially copied what WordLift is doing, or InLinks. They're another one now too. Basically identifying entities and then using people, places, and event schema, and building up the relevancy inside of that schema too. So those are the two ways that I implement the data that you've put in the Quora.
And if people want to learn more from your mastermind, how do they do that?
Oh, we went over that one already. My mastermind, no one else can get into. I closed that one out. I even kicked Ted out. That's how exclusive.
Oh, it's that group. No.
But over at SIA, where I'll be actually, once I can get my head out of my fourth port in contact, we'll be getting some more courses and stuff. And I want to go deep dive into this, especially since Page Optimizer Pro, Surfer, and Quora have all implemented. Like, it's all there. Everyone's given them this tool, but so what? What is it like? What is it doing? What do I do with it? Kind of thing. So, yeah. So that's the plan in the distant or near future for getting out that information. Speaking of Quora, I already did all my let's make money stuff, so I want to give you a chance since you showed up. You did you have that new software piece. Are you ready to show that off to the world yet?
I am within days. So I'm just ironing out all the headache stuff, making the installers, making the website, setting up the e-commerce, trying to get the code signing in order, and all that wrap up stuff,
Yeah,
the business stuff. It always takes forever. It feels like the last inch is like 10 miles long.
yeah, yeah. I feel yeah. Like, we got the automator done and the architect software done. Is I'm right there. So the installers and the licensing, my licensing server somehow that it got completely erased, so they got to redo all that. And I'm just like, oh, bang my head against the wall. I've been talking about I'm gonna have this stuff out forever now, and it's like I just get there and then do.
Yeah, and so if you haven't heard, I'm making an SEO tool that's kind of geared towards content writers and non-technical SEOs, so
Mhm.
lower level uh, understanding of SEO, so you can just kind of fumble your way into some good SEO. And the idea is to make it efficient to do your content research and to create competitive content within the context of your keywords. So it's kind of like a text editor with a Cora engine built in. And in the background, it's going to be telling you, oh, you need more keyword usage, you need more entities, you need more LSI. And at the push of a button, it'll give you dozens of options to get content ideas and to create authoritative lists. And it'll even highlight duplicate content. It'll tell you what you have that's already duplicated on other sites so that you can make your content unique to avoid indexing issues. and
Mhm.
and it's basically just an SEO centric text editor, but it also has some really cool refactoring capabilities. And most people won't know what that means. That's a development term. So if you're writing software, you'll understand refactoring. That's when you have to go in and rewrite a bunch of code so it's formatted differently, and they make convenience functions to do that. Well, I brought that into this content editor. So if you're like, give me a list of all the headings from the top search results for my keyword, it, it'll be H2s and H4s and stuff like that. You can select it all and refactor it to LI tags, and boom, done. You can select it all, sort it, dedupe it, done. And so you get lots of refactoring options, but in the context of writing content.
The output, is that going to be like a Word document or HTML file?
HTML. So the idea is unless you're working on something that you want to save and resume, the idea is in general, you're going to finish your content without the need to save it. You're probably just going to highlight the source and paste it into WordPress and call it a post.
Uh-huh.
So you can save it as uh, as its own project file, so you can resume later. You could also save it as just HTML, or you could just copy and paste into your content management system.
Yeah. So if you guys are listening to that really closely and you're wearing a hat same color that I typically do when it comes to link building and content creation and sites, this thing is going to be stupid awesome. And a new way to look at creating your PBN stuff, new way to look at creating maybe your S3 sites if you're doing the cloud kind of site building stuff, and a new way to start building links that actually have like stupid optimized relevance to your own web properties. So he designed it for content writers and SEO, not so much SEOs, but content writers. Kind of like he said, it was his idea. The way he said it was like a dumbed down version of Quora to make it easier to implement and stuff. But to me, it was like way much more than that for content writers. And then if you're a link builder or a mass page guy, you're gonna get a lot of love out of this tool. and do some crazy cool stuff with your expired domains now that you're buying for PBNs, your old PBNs that you're not using anymore. Maybe you have some test sites you're not using anymore. Maybe you need to make some siloed content and you don't want it, you're not going to put it up and let it be like seen in the navigation or anything like that, but you create some silos out of that stuff and hide it inside of your site structure to boost your internals linking power. I got like stupid mad ideas about this. I do. In all fairness, I do have the beta. I have the beta, but I was like crazy busy figuring out his testing tool, and I haven't gotten to mess with this content editor yet. But I will do an entire show on SEO this week on this content editor. I just want to make sure if and when Ted's ready for me to say, hey, it's out there. Like, obviously you guys all know it's there. Just he wants people to see it now. Would be once I get the go ahead for that, then I'll start flying through and doing some cool stuff with it and showing you how to leverage it beyond the intended use. So this is what Ted made it for, and this is what I'm going to use it for, kind of thing. So that'd be awesome.
It's gonna be a lot cheaper than Core.
Okay. All right. So that's it. That's the end of the news. Ted, I had a issue with Cora again. So I couldn't run this site.
Let me know the details. I'll try running it right now. Maybe I can spot the issue.
Yeah, I gotta get the right screen showing here. Boom. All right, you should see my whole desktop now, right? So actually, this is the URL this is the domain. I'm gonna send this stuff to Ted on Skype, so bear with me here real quick. There's the domain. And this was it's not in the top 100. You have to force the URL in there.
Horticulture jobs.
Yeah.
I used to work on a perennial farm.
Mm-hmm.
Drove a Massey Ferguson, in fact.
Oh, nice. Okay, so greenjobs.com is the website. I got this from another group I'm in. People were asking for site reviews, and I figured, hey, why not? All right. So this is obviously it's greenjobs.com. And the first thing I wanted to point out is that EMDs. A lot of people were talking about don't use EMDs for any reason whatsoever. Always do a brand. But this EMD is branded and it is ranking really well for green jobs right off the bat. There's a decent search volume, 1.9 according as reported by Google. I'm sure there's a lot more. But I think it's doing all right in that regard. So this is one of those cases where if you follow that, don't do exact match, always make a brand. Well, why can't you turn an exact match into your brand? Obviously, for some things that you don't want to do, it might narrow that down a little bit. Like I had OlympiaSEO.com forever. That was my brand, Olympia SEO. Well, when you're trying to move out of the city of Olympia, that got a little bit complicated. So that's why I switched to digital here. But in this case, greenjobs.com is actually a really good choice and a good example of the exact match is kind of dominating the search results.
So I pulled up Quora and I searched for horticulture jobs, and greenjobs.com, the homepage, the URL you sent me, you're correct, doesn't rank.
Right.
But they have a horticulture jobs page.
The category?
It's ranking number 34. So should I use the one they already have ranking, or do they?
Yeah, use that one that's already ranking.
Okay.
My guess is probably going to be this one. It's going to be that categories / horticulture jobs. All right. So site structure. Well, actually, I don't even want to get off pattern. So what is it? What's it about? What's in it for me? Obviously, we're looking at someone who's looking for green jobs. A lot of people, this is important to these days. They want to work for clean companies. This is and they want to work for organizations that kind of embrace your same values in that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And people are promoting their jobs and their companies in that way and leveraging the attention that that gives. So that's awesome. So this is a great concept, in my opinion. 554 jobs on this website. I can confirm that's roughly about how many pages, probably a little bit more that I got when I did the crawls. So what is it? Green jobs. I'm in the right place. Jobs. And I can search for jobs. So what's in it for me? Obviously, I can search for jobs. And if you scroll down here a little bit more, you see this video. The implementation's okay. I would probably think about changing the title a little bit just to make it more CTR-ish. Maybe they're trying to rank that for the brand. I didn't even check. But since it's green jobs, I doubt it. This is not going to make a brand play. Let me check the videos here just before I talk out of my fourth point of contact. Yeah, it's not there. So I would probably change that title and try to rank it for in the video section here as well. And just to make it a little bit more professional. So green jobs, like green jobs promo, at the end of the day, no one's going to be looking for that. So you're kind of missing out. It's obviously it's your promo. If you're going to use it on ads and stuff, that's fine, but have a better title in there. Either way. The implementation of these is all right. It kind of gives out and builds authority and stuff. Anyone can do these, by the way. You just find a good press release and stuff, and maybe do some outreach, and you can get that kind of stuff. To me, I would make this a little bit smaller. It's great that it's there, but at the end of the day, what is that helping you in your conversions? And then when it ticks around, like if you're looking at it from the mobile perspective, it's not horrible. But here, just to me, it just seems like a lot of wasted space. And then you have your featured jobs and stuff. The featured jobs, I've worked on these type of sites before, and implementing this featured job function is not easy. But there is might be a better way for you to look at it and kind of divide it up into your categories. I'll show you the categories as we click around here a little bit more, but maybe pick your top 3 categories and then have 3 rows of jobs here in each of those categories. It'll be a little bit better than the solid line. From a desktop perspective, obviously from a mobile perspective, that's going to switch over to looking like that no matter what you do, but that's okay. And then the latest jobs here, I would limit this to, especially on the homepage, and kind of bring this down to maybe the top 10 latest jobs. And then you see it just redirects when you click that lip view more into the search engine. And here's the categories that I mentioned before. And that's kind of how I found the other term, the horticultural jobs. It's the one that Ted's running the core report from. I was looking at that because unless you're going to rank for like the business name or the business name and jobs, unless you're going to try to do that, or the job title, your category is probably going to be your best converting person. So if I'm looking for a job in horticulture, I'm going to look for horticulture jobs, right? Or if I'm looking for sustainability jobs or operations jobs, this one's a little bit vague. I would probably want to relook at that one. Like operations or what? Green jobs is okay. It's kind of a play off of this. I don't know that that's really necessary, especially since you're already ranking it. But you have some marketing and other jobs in the category for working for green companies, which is, that's perfectly fine. But in particular, if you're going after like sustainability jobs around sustainability, conservation, environment. Where's another one? Horticulture, forestry, agriculture, maybe water and cannabis. It kind of plays more into that green person's. That's the market who's looking for those kind of jobs, really looking for green jobs, right? So that's where I would focus my SEO efforts to rank in for those. And that's what got me onto this page. This is the one I pretty sure Ted's going to find in Quora as the category horticulture jobs. And he said it was in 35. Is that what you said, Ted? 35-ish. I actually didn't see it anywhere in the top 100.
Correct. I see it flipping between 34 and 35 from my physical location.
From your location. Yeah. For me, I didn't even see it at all. When I ran Quora, I didn't find it at all. Let me check here if I do a manual search. Yeah, there it is, 35. So we're all right. So 35 is okay. If you have this off of just 35 off of this, adding some content to this page and fleshing it out a little bit better is actually going to pay you a whole bunch of dividends. If this is ranking number 35, just doing some on-page stuff alone is going to hop it into at least the top 15, wouldn't you say, Ted? And probably the top 10 if you do it right.
Yeah. I'll want to see the data to know for sure, but I'm going to guess that you're being beaten by long form content. You're going to need to tune your headings a fair amount, and your variations and entity usage are probably going to be nowhere near where they need to be because the page is just so thin.
Yeah, it's so thin. To me, this is, think of a job site. Like if you guys don't have one of these, or you do, and you're building it out, a job site, think of it is almost the same structure as e-commerce. Your products category, your horticulture jobs are going to go into that category. Google's going to rank those a lot better than they're going to rank the individual products. The downside of this is when you're doing your product pages, which in this case, the job is the product, what are you going to rank for? Senior sales exec, greenhouse tech. This is actually a much better title than some of the ones that I was looking for. Senior sales exec, greenhouse tech. But it's not the company that's actually looking for it. So it kind of screws you up a little bit. Senior sales exec, and changing that and putting the title, company title in there, so that when you can rank it for potentially senior sales exec. That's kind of broad, but you can also, people who are looking specifically to work with this organization will see your listing versus someone else's, and increase your traffic. So that's what you can do with these job pages, or with that, to me, are essentially product pages.
Can you go back to that category page they had?
This one.
Because what you can often do on a page like this is apply some e-commerce fundamentals to it, because we see this problem in e-commerce categories all the time where they're super thin. And what you effectively have here is a product category that has 3 products in it. So what can we do to bulk up this category page to make it more meaty for the search term? And what you typically do in e-commerce is you add supplemental content, which is part of the quality raters guidelines. So Google actually wants you to put supplemental content on this page. And so what you would do is you would create a carousel, a job carousel for similar jobs to horticulture jobs. And you would post jobs from other categories that are similar to horticulture jobs in that. And in those listings, you are going to use title attributes and alt attributes that say similar jobs to horticulture jobs, so that you get your keyword usage pumped up. And that way you could get, there's only 3 jobs in this category, but there might be 50 similar jobs that you could also put in your supplemental content. Think about it as, the people also bought or other popular coffee mugs. That's what you're doing, but you're doing it with jobs instead of e-com products.
Okay.
And think about it in the way that online retailers do it, and you could bulk up this page and probably shoot up the rankings.
It'll also help with your interlinking too, right? So interlinking and boosting, like, I don't want to call it a silo, but you spreading that link juice that's there around, and then 2, you're boosting your interlinking, which will improve your crawl rate and find more stuff too. So there's multiple benefits of doing that beyond just to rank this one page higher. So
I'm almost done with the Cora run.
okay, I got plenty of stuff here. So I clicked on one of these, and if you guys don't know, there is a schema, and it's called the job schema, and it essentially that's what feeds the Google jobs listing on the search results. So let me bring that back up again. And this here, it feeds this. So if you're using job schema and then you submit it properly to Google, it'll populate and it'll fill into the jobs thing, and you can click on explore jobs, and if you have your schema done properly, it'll all pop in here. In this case, the schema is actually not done right. The value here is it's a recommended value. Field is recommended. This one is recommended, so that means you don't need it, right? But the job location is required, and because the job location is not there, that's why those horticulture jobs aren't showing up on your listings. So you have to get that in place, and I'm thinking that it's probably looking for the actual city state of where the job is at, or the the company name. Look at schema.org and figure that out. Actually, I can do it really quick since we're here. I'm stalling for Ted anyway. Schema.org, job location is probably, like I said, is probably looking for the place. Yeah, see, so it's a place. It's looking for the actual physical location where that job is at. So in this case, you need to put the city and state where the job is at. Here it is. You have it. So Southern and Central California. Get that inside of your structured data, and that will populate and push more into this feed, this service right here. It's essentially what Google wanted to do is they're killing like monster jobs and all that stuff because there's all that traffic, and then eventually you're going to start seeing some PPC ads in here. You have jobs advertised in their Google jobs section, and so that's where this is going eventually. But if you have that set up properly, you can leverage this now and get one more traffic opportunity. People are starting to use this more. Google's promoting it more, especially to veterans. So get that schema fixed. Loves me some schema. And then the rest of the website is kind of built out with blend schema. I would maybe work on this a little bit better. Set up your organization, set up your branding and stuff. At the end of the day, the page is already ranking. In particular, this is the homepage is already ranking in the top 2 for green jobs, which is perfect. But help the rest of your site out and start establishing that brand a little bit more. And leveraging some of your other feeder properties, your brand related properties, and where you're syndicating to, and work that out a little bit better using schema. In particular, organization schema is missing. That's the first thing I would have implemented site wide is the organization schema, so you get all your branding and stuff put out. And since it's early on in the site's life cycle, I believe that it's a good time to, well, the domain is 17 years old, but the site is newish from what I understand. Yeah, if it's registered that far out, that's my guess is he just got it and he's brought it back to life, so that's good. I would start doing like syndications to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn in particular, and tying those out and creating brand properties and company pages, etc., and making sure that stuff's all in your organization schema, so it just builds and boosts and compounds upon itself, and then it'll pass over to the rest of your Oh, your pages, especially when you get into working on those company pages and stuff. And Ted's done, but I want to go over Screaming Frog real quick. Again, here we're just looking at response codes. I flipped this around. I did have an issue with too many requests. I had to play with the user agent a little bit, but that's okay. There's some forbidden stuff here. For whatever reason, it's like some of your outbound links are forbidden, and that's an issue because it's Googlebot that they're forbidding. So maybe look at those. If you don't need those links, get rid of those. And then you get some 301s and stuff. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If you are looking for some expired domains, maybe go through and check these out, see if they're released or not, and then we can get a link from greenjobs.com if you're into that sort of thing. And then the rest of the site was actually running pretty good on the status codes. I looked at the page titles. Page titles are all a little bit short. There's some more opportunity in there. The old pipe is in there with the branding. It's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It just depends. But once you get the knowledge graph, which I doubt you're ever going to get for that search term greens job, but if you do get it, then you can probably take that out and start going for some CTR stuff inside your title tags in conjunction with your keywords, not just relying on the branding. Meta descriptions, you got them there. Jobs in New York, jobs in Maryland, and stuff like that. That's fine. But let's think more about some CTR. Obviously, you want to keep those in there, but there's so much more. You got another 120 word sort of characters that you can drop in there into that 600 pixel space. For CTR to capture a little bit more traffic, maybe even think about going after some alternative keywords. H1s are all populated good. H2s are all pretty much blank across the board, but that's coming from the way your pages are set up. So look at maybe running a couple of those inside of Core and see if that is valuable to you. But if you're like these product roof site assessor kind of pages, if you're not going to try to rank those for the broad term or the company name / the job, then it might not be worthwhile to do that. But look at that inside of your process. And then the canonicals, some of these are blank, so you need to get this addressed. It looks like it's mainly on your job stuff. So I would look at your canonicals and find out why those aren't populating across the board. The categories are set up just fine. And the state pages are set up just fine, but your products are not. So I would seriously take a look at that and see why that's not being populated right off the bat. That's Screaming Frog. And I need to take a breath. That's what I need to do. So I'm going to bring Ted on and pop this bad boy in. Make it bigger. All right. Can you see that, Ted?
Yep.
Okay.
So Cora largely confirmed what Clint and I had already seen on the page. You have very thin category pages, and you're just being beaten by pages with a lot more keyword-rich content. And so in a phase one, I would try to bulk up that content with supplemental content. So use what you have, which is other categories of job postings, and get them onto the page as supplemental content, related jobs, similar jobs, trending jobs, popular now, people also like. Get those supplemental content widgets onto the page and make sure that the entries in the HTML, it doesn't have to be visible, but it does have to be in the HTML, are using the keyword you're trying to bulk up for the page. So similar jobs to horticulture jobs becomes an alt text on the image, becomes a title attribute on the link. That way it doesn't make the page look spammy, but it increases your keyword usage on the page for relevancy. So I would definitely work on that. And in doing that, make sure that those supplemental content widgets, the carousels and the things you would use to do that, make sure that they're using like H2 tags or H3 tags. And that way you get all of these like just knocked out. And it's interesting that one of the things that, you know, we would tend to see in this space is entity usage. And so you're way thin on entity usage, but so are your competitors. And that may be a way to get ahead. They're not doing that yet. And if you're the first, and if entities really matter in the algorithm, you could own that advantage for this keyword all to yourself. And that's why it's in red, because it's working for thousands of other keywords, but your competitors aren't using it yet. So it didn't correlate for this keyword. So you may have an opportunity in using all of the things Clint was talking about entities earlier.
And right off the bat, the implementation of that to me would be putting the company names inside of your job titles, because companies are the entities as long as they're established brands. Inside of the NLP API, they're going to trigger as an entity, person, place, thing. So that would be how to tackle that right off the bat, and you wouldn't really have to change a whole lot.
And I would wager that sentiment might come into play here too. You do have listings of jobs at companies, and that's only one step removed from listings of companies. Yelp. So you might be able to look at what Yelp is doing with similar information and learn from what they know. And one of the things they know is sentiment. They would, if Yelp did your page, it would be the top 10 best horticulture jobs. And so that's how they would work in sentiment. So you might look at Yelp for some tips, try to learn from their millions of dollars of marketing research.
Yeah. Excellent ideas. Do you want me to open the Cora report, or are you good with that?
Oh, I'd say keep it simple. Offer them the report if they want it, though.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to look at site bulb just because you guys know this is my favorite. I'm a site bulb fanboy. It's just some minor technical stuff. Really, probably wouldn't even get too much wrapped around the axle. Some links in there that are linking to HTTP. It only really found one, so it's not like end of the day kind of thing. Some stuff inside of the head you might want to look at, just some invalid elements inside of the head that might not be there. My guess is it's probably like a tracking script or something like that is usually what fires those off. So I wouldn't get too bent up around those. And let's see, there wasn't nothing, some broken URLs, duplicate page titles, probably just, my guess is feeding off your categories and just the way that the site gets crawled. Some duplicate titles and meta descriptions. Again, probably categories and pagination that are kicking those off. So just something to look at and be aware that might be an issue. And then the site structure is actually pretty good. I like it. So let me open this one just because I like looking at this thing. Yeah, there's a site structure. Nice, clean, it's pretty, it's built out. I'll change colors here in a second. So keep that up. That process is really good. So, and you're leveraging, to me, like there's these construction home representatives, and then it goes to these cities pages. You're leveraging those, building links to those is going to rank the city pages, which are going to bring you the more traffic and kind of build upon itself. The category pages are all built out the same way, but most of the stuff is the city. Yeah, the city. This is companies to the company page. This is going to the job search page. So that's okay. I guess you're not really going to rank that one, but the rest of the structure is looking up really good. I like it. You a fan of these site structure to look at visualizations, Ted? I love them.
I love data visualization tools.
Yeah.
They're usually, too complicated for business executives to make sense of what to do.
Right.
So I would lump them into very technical analysis tools. You have to really be into data, or you have to really understand what you're looking at to get any value out of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a data geek, I love this type of stuff. I actually uh, modified Cora at one point to be able to output its data specifically into data visualization tools. But it was just me and one other person whoever did it. So eventually it wasn't worth supporting.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
These are awesome once you get used to looking at them. Like you can, and then you can start figuring out, oh, what are you looking for? Like Ted said, it's and without these the light bulb pop-ups here, this would be pretty useless. But in general, I like looking at these right off the bat to see if the site structure is screwed up. If these are all over the place and some random dots and they're all linking to pagination pages, and I had one that was all like the blog and then comment slugs were all in there and stuff. That kind of, it's like weird, some of the structures that some you can find on here, and that goes pretty much across the board. You can run any site in here and see site structures and some ideas on how to set it up and all that stuff. In this case, this one's awesome. I like the state and then the companies that are in that state. I would build links to all of these and increase the rankings for this, which would pass on to the homepage and just build upon itself. This is an excellent structure. So good job
Yeah.
there.
I would pivot this information. I'd instantly go, okay, how can I find out, heat map based on rankings and show the number of internal link connections to each page? And that
Yeah.
way you can see if your internal linking is boosting your rankings, and then you can find out where to shift the opportunity.
Uh,
And yeah, so there's it once you learn to slice and dice and manipulate the data and stuff, then the visualization tools can be huge. But when you go to a third party platform and they give you one visualization and that's all they give you, and you can't really change what you're looking at, that's a lot harder to work with. So if you really want to up your game, you probably got to get raw data, and you'd have to go into one of those tool sets and build the views you need.
Yep, for sure. And that's it. That's it for Sightbulb. So hopefully that helped everyone out. Again, just to see another. This is how I look at websites. This is how Ted looks at websites and stuff. And hopefully that helped out the site owner. I hope he appreciates that. Again, if you want your site audited, you want us to look at it, feel free to reach out to me at SIA if you're in SIA, IMG if you're in there, or just directly on the book face or Skype. You can reach me in either one of those two and just kind of request a site audit, and I have no problem doing those for you, just because that's what I like. So. And that has been SEO This Week, episode 150. Thank you all for coming. Ted, what are we talking about tomorrow on Fight Club?
We're not. I am traveling because we had a contest for people joining IMG, and now we got to take them to the Phoenix Open and give them all you can eat and open bar and all of our best SEO secrets. And so I'm traveling to do that.
Oh, nice. I get a vacation then.
Yeah, day off.
All right. So if you guys could hit the thumbs up or thumbs down and hit subscribe and little bell notification on this channel, I appreciate it. We're kind of falling down on those and asking for those. Also, if you are looking for your SEO Fight Club fix and you just don't have, you can't wait one more week, all the episodes are coming up online on Roku. So we are now TV stars. Carol Holtzman, she got that approved for us, and it was announced today. Let me see if I can find the link, because I'm a big dumb monkey and I didn't put it on here.
Yeah, I think we have the Guinness Book of World Records record for the lowest production value TV show.
Yeah, I saw some of those images she used. I was like, what the heck? Where did she find those? I put the Roku channel link inside of the comments on YouTube. If you could, and if you have a Roku subscription, if you want to support us, please support us. But add the channel inside of Roku. I don't have a Roku subscription, so I got to get one myself. And then give us some ratings. That would be awesome. Kind of get some momentum going for that show on Roku. So hopefully we'll get SEO this week on Roku too, and we'll be flying along, taking over the world on TV land. Well, streaming land anyway. Next step, Netflix. All right, and that will be it. Ted, you got anything else?
Nope, just a lot of exciting stuff is going on, and so yeah, it's going to be cool. We have a lot of tests and topics coming up. So week after next, we'll see you again with SEO Fight Club.
Oh, sweet. Yep, looking forward to it. All right. And thank you again for watching SEO this week, episode 150. And I'll see you next week, and have a great time.